Well, I really can't think about the pandemic without thinking about what my husband calls the double punch. Because 6 weeks before the pandemic officially emerged and we were in the dining room when Laura and Ginny arrived to tell us that we were shutting down, I was in the pool on a Saturday evening with our daughter Anne, who was in her mid-50s, the mother of 2 girls in their 20s, single. And she would sometimes come over on the weekend and we would walk and talk in the pool. And she just did not look like herself. And I said, why don't we sit in the whirlpool and rest for a minute? And she looked even less like herself. So I said, Annie, why don't you go home and have a good rest and you can come back tomorrow. She didn't come back. 2 days later, we got a call from the emergency room at Christ Hospital. And she said, Mom, I'm here and I have a tumor. And the surgeon is going to come in tomorrow morning at 7:30 to meet with us. And I knew that her friend Ed was there. I knew that our granddaughter, Ellie, was there with her. And it was almost 10 at night. And so I said, well, you all get a good night's sleep and I'll join you in the morning, which I did. And at 7:30, Dr. Mark Magner came in and introduced himself. And he said, Annie, you have a fist-sized stage 4 terminal brain cancer. You have 7 to 15 months to live if we can do surgery this afternoon. After we got this news and the doctor had left, I went downstairs to get some coffee. And I burst into tears and called my sister and Sherry McGonigal at the front desk. And then I came back here to get my husband and burst into tears when I saw Betsy at the Shaw desk. And then burst into tears when I saw Chris Neely. And again when I saw David Lowery getting off the elevator. And there was just an immediate response. Jewel Porter came out of her office and walked me down the hall and said, this has just been an experience in our family. Aaron came over from phys ed and did the same thing. I found out about staff and residents who had lost children of all ages, something I'd never known. And I have to say it was a sacred experience to be in that place of facing the unknown and to be surrounded by so much tenderness, a lot of it very unspoken, but really palpable. And the next thing I remember is that 4 days later, she came here for rehab in room 155, right underneath where we were staying. And the day she got here, the staff were having a farewell party to our doc, who had been the house doc here. And so as they came in, Laura and Jenny and Joan and so many people embraced me. And I had this sense that all the way from Tina the cleaner, who comes in every week, and she and I know each other's every secret, to the people at every level of leadership. People were holding me in their hearts. And Emerson, who was the first person to speak to me and the last person to really grapple with me, came in and brought me a magazine article about some friends who'd had some kind of special treatment, and he wanted to get me information about it. Because it was the pandemic, I was completely cut off from the role that I had cultivated over 80 years of being the oldest child of 8, the mother, the grandmother, the carer. And my work was to learn a completely new role, which was to let go and let other people take care of my daughter. And our family started a Zoom on Saturdays, and my recovery group was meeting at 7:15 every morning. So I had lots of chances to talk, and my experience here was so much more subtle. It was just a hand on the shoulder, a pat on the back, a smile. It was understood that if there were anything I needed, people would do whatever they could. 13 months went by, and the people who were supporting me said, it's time for you to go for a compassionate visit. So I did. And it was only 3 days. And that night I came back and I just lost it. I was in the saddest sadness of my life. And I called Emerson. Emerson, a gay man with no kids and no personal experience of what I was talking about. I really wanted him to father me. And he said, "What do you need from me, Kate?" And I said, "It's just so sad." And he said, "Well, we have your back, and we will, and we will." I think that there are many, many experiences which have connected so many different segments of our community to each other over these years, these past couple of years. And most of those stories will not ever get told, and maybe won't even get recognized. But ours was a very dramatic story. And when I went over to keep vigil with Annie in the middle of February, I sent some notes out on the computer. And wouldn't you know that the very first person to send flowers the day after my daughter died was Laura Lamb. So I hope that my sharing communicates the depth and the love and the sensitivity of the experience that we had and the way we were companioned and supported through it.